There's a good chance today that some website, app, or service that you tried to use today was down. That's following an outage from Amazon Web Services. Mackenzie Sigalos joins us now with more on what exactly happened. Hi, Mac.
Hey, Morgan. So more than 11 million users have now reported problems, and the count is still rising as this AWS outage drags on. Now, the trouble stems from Amazon's Northern Virginia region.
There was a major outage on Monday with Amazon in their biggest used region. This was on Monday, October 20th. I woke up getting phone calls, alerts saying that everything that we were doing was down. Users could not access the application, and I was like, what in the world is going on? Jumped on a call to find out that Amazon was having issues, which sounds like unbelievable. That we had CrowdStrike last year where companies, like where airlines were grounded, the government wasn't working, and now about a little bit over a year later, Amazon has a major outage in their biggest region, causing applications all over not to work. We're going to jump in today to learn more about that. Let's continue watching this video.
That's its oldest and busiest cloud hub, still the default for countless apps and platforms. This is the same data center complex that Amazon has leaned on for years, where many major platforms first set up shop. This hub has seen multiple disruptions over the past 5 years. Now, AWS says it is making progress fixing the internal network failures that triggered all this, and we are starting to see service disruptions come back down. Cyber experts also stressing this is not a hack, but it is another reminder of the risks that come with centralized cloud infrastructure. Despite growing pressure from Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud, AWS still controls more than a third of the global market. Investor sentiment was already shaky heading into earnings, with AWS battling margin compression and a backlog trailing Microsoft and Oracle. This outage does not help. The question now is, does Amazon raise its $118 billion annual CapEx commitment next week to bulk up its data centers, expand compute, and potentially chase more AI demand? Guys?
Mac, I wonder, there's an agentic AI challenge here, it seems to me, right? Because we're talking about AI all the time. That is sitting on top of the cloud.
Watching this video, I really wonder how much do these analysts actually understand how this technology works, because they haven't, they like, and plus at the time they're making this video, or they're reporting on this news, from my understanding of the issue, there's nothing really has to do with AI. It was like reading upon this after the fact. It looks like there was a database and DNS issue. We're going to jump into an article about that to figure out what exactly is going on. But I'm not sure how well these financial analysts, for the most part, really understand how all of this works. But let's keep watching the video.
If this were 5-10 years in the future, if you don't have people to answer the phones because the agents are doing it for you, or analyze your sales or crunch your numbers, does a cloud outage become a work stoppage for companies? I mean, it seems like the stakes are only getting higher for the economy as we rely more and more on these resources.
I mean, today laid bare the fact that Perplexity doesn't have a robust enough multi-cloud strategy. I'm about to Anthropic to hear whether they've suffered disruption, but we haven't seen reports of that. And that's because they rely on a mix of cloud providers, not just Amazon, but Google Cloud. We also saw OpenAI diversify away from just working with Microsoft Azure, their Google Cloud customer as well, to prevent exactly this, John. You can't have reliance on one single provider anymore.
So in light of that, Mac, who are the potential winners, if there are some, coming off of this event?
I mean, think about Oracle's investor day last week. Their backlog number, I'm looking at a chart of this, it's up to $455 billion. Azure's $368 billion. You know where Amazon is? It's shy of $200 billion. And that's a big concern here. Yes, they are still the firm leader in the cloud wars, but their growth numbers year over year are coming down. We're seeing those compressed margins. And then backlog, which is the best indicator of future revenue, is not looking all that promising. And an event like this doesn't help their optics problem.
So there you have it. There you have it. AWS major outage. Especially if you're in tech. If you are in tech, you probably noticed that there was something happening last week where so many different services were down, and you're like, what is going on? And the thing is with this, right? This can affect any everyday user because you don't have to be working in tech to be affected because everything, almost everything, flows through somehow US East 1, which is the region that had the issue with the AWS outage. I like the idea that they're sharing about the data center redundancy, the region redundancy. But the thing is, that is so expensive to set up. Whether you're being redundant within AWS itself, spreading it across different regions. So if one region goes down, you can easily pick back up on another region, or you're spreading it across different cloud providers. It becomes so much more expensive, so much more work, because now if you're going against different cloud providers, you need to know how those cloud providers work, do the same configuration, and now to be able to turn off one switch to turn on another one for everything to come back up, you don't know how long the outage is going to last. Many companies cannot afford that. I can definitely understand these like Anthropics and stuff like that being able to afford it, because I mean, look how much money they're getting through AI and stuff like that, through AI investments. But a regular company, they're not going to be able to afford having all this redundancy, and they're just gonna have to figure it out. But what I want to do is I want to jump into an article with you guys to figure out what exactly happened with this outage, how it came to be, so that we can have a better understanding of all the things that are going on. All right, so let's jump to it. So basically, the company published its full report about the outage that affected numerous websites and services. And trust me, I know I was woken up early. I'm saying I woke up on Monday morning, about to go do my workout, run some sprints, swing some kettlebells, and I see my phone. I'm like, oh, I was just called. And so I log on, I'm checking out what's going on, and they say, oh yeah, there's a massive AWS outage going on. What do we do? All right, so let's read this article to see what exactly happened. It says, Amazon published a lengthy report about the outage that knocked numerous websites, services, apps, and games offline on October 20th. It all started with a bug in its automation software DynamoDB, where its AWS customers store their data, which then triggered more issues in its other systems that relied on the software. So basically, DynamoDB, a database, some issue that we're going to find out about that happened in there, because it couldn't access data, it started to cascade to all the other applications and softwares that relied on the data that's stored in DynamoDB. That's my understanding so far. All right. As Amazon explains, DynamoDB maintains hundreds of thousands of DNS records. Oh, okay. So the DynamoDB contains the DNS records, which then would lead to the routing on the internet not being able to get to figure out like where websites and applications are supposed to go. And it's supposed to be fixed. It's supposed to be able to fix any issue automatically. But on October 20th, DynamoDB DNS management system suffered from a bug that resulted in an empty DNS record for Amazon's data center in North Virginia. Like I said, that is the primary route of, I guess, the primary region that most Amazon services use. Says, all right, so DynamoDB was supposed to repair the issue on its own, but it had failed to do so, prompting Amazon to fix the problem manually. While the issue was happening, all systems that needed to connect to DynamoDB couldn't and experienced DNS failures, including the customers of its cloud computing services. It felt like half the internet wasn't working when that happened. That shows you as well how powerful Amazon, because I remember using Amazon, like when AWS first got introduced back in like 2000, or when I first heard about it, it was probably like 2000 maybe 14ish, and I had to like, that's when we started using Amazon Authenticator and stuff like that. The website and services affected by the outage include Amazon itself, Amazon Alexa devices, Bank of America, Snapchat, Canva, Reddit, Apple Music, Apple TV, Lyft, Duolingo, Fortnite, Disney Plus, Venmo, DoorDash, Hulu, PlayStation, and even 8 Sleep, whose beds connect to the internet to adjust their temperature and incline. Imagine someone is sleeping on their 8 Sleep bed, and it just starts to move and it starts to get warm because it cannot connect to the internet to find out what it should be. All right. Some of them were slow to respond, while others were completely inaccessible. We apologize for the impact of this. We apologize for the impact this event caused our customers. While we have strong track records for operating our services with the highest level of availability, we know how critical our services are to our customers, their applications and end users and their businesses. We know this event impacted many customers in significant ways. We will do everything we can to learn from this event and use it to improve our availability even further, Amazon said in a statement. All right. So, I mean, it's very, very rare, especially for US East 1 to have these type of outages. Very rare to have these type of outages, right? But it happens. It happens. I remember like back in like, it had to be maybe 2018ish. I was working for a company, and there was a massive Amazon outage that we were all panicking for. We were going frantic because we thought it was something on our end, but it was actually something on Amazon's end. But like I said, it is not something that happens on a regular basis. So basically, that is what happened. It was a DNS issue that caused all this craziness to happen. Let me see. Let's take a look at. Let me see how lengthy this report is to see if there's any key things we can actually highlight out of this. But we're not going to spend too much time on it. Let's see. So we wanted to provide you some additional information about the service disruption that occurred in North Virginia, US East 1 region on October 19th and 20th, 2025. The event started at 11:48 p.m. PDT on October 19th and ended at 2:20 p.m. PDT on October 20th. There were three distinct periods of impact to impact customer applications. First, between 11:48 on October 19th and 2:40 a.m. on October 20th, Amazon's DynamoDB experienced increased API error rates in the North Virginia US East 1 region. Second, between 5:30 a.m. and 2:09 p.m., network load balancer experienced an increase in connection errors for some load balancers in North Virginia region. This was caused by health check failures in the network load balancer fleet, which resulted in increased connection errors from some network load balancers. Third, between 2:25 a.m. and 10:36 a.m. on October 20th, new EC2 instances launches failed, and while the instances launch began to succeed from 10:37 a.m., some newly launched instances experienced connectivity issues and were resolved by 1:50. And here's the thing that was happening, right? While things were starting to come back up, a lot of companies are still pinging AWS for connection and stuff like that, which with them getting increasing error rates, that's also going to cause issues and with latency and stuff like that. So it was a mess because they're still getting requests and they're still trying to recover, and it's like things are trying over and over and over. I understand what's happening, right? So the DynamoDB was between 11:48 p.m. and 2:40 a.m. So we read about that. Many of the largest AWS services rely extensively on DNS to provide seamless scale, fault isolation and recovery, low latency and locality. Let me see what else they're saying. So DynamoDB US East 1, let's read this real quick, right? It says the root cause of the issue was a latent race condition in the race conditions are so evil. Race conditions are so evil in tech because it's like something gets there first and that one takes precedent, but it kind of needed the other one. So it says, all right, so the root cause of the issue was a latent race condition in the DynamoDB DNS management system that resulted in incorrect empty DNS record for the service regional endpoint, DynamoDB US East 1, Amazon AWS.com, that the automation failed to repair. To explain the event, we need to share some details about the DynamoDB DNS management architecture. The system is split across two independent components for availability reasons. The first component, the DNS planner, monitors the health and capacity of the load balancers and periodically creates a new DNS plan for each of the service's endpoints consisting of a set of load balancers and weights. We produce a single regional DNS plan as this greatly simplifies capacity management and failure mitigation when capacity is shared across multiple endpoints, as is the case with the recently launched IPv6 endpoint and the public regional endpoint. A second component, the DNS enactor, which is designed to have minimal dependencies to allow for system recovery in any scenario, enacts DNS plans by applying the required changes in the Amazon Route 53 service. For resiliency, the DNS enactor operates redundantly and fully independently in three different availability zones. Each of these independent instances of the DNS enactor looks for new plans and attempts to update Route 53 by replacing the current plan with a new plan using Route 53 transaction, assuring that Each endpoint is updated with the consistent plan, even when multiple DNS enactors attempt to update it concurrently. So now the issue that happens is the race condition involves an unlikely interaction between two DNS enactors. The normal way things work, a DNS enactor picks up the latest plan and begins working through the service endpoints to apply this plan. This process typically completes rapidly and does an effective job of keeping DNS state freshly updated. All right, so let's see if we can see what exactly happened though, and I wonder if they have a mitigation plan as well for this not to happen in the future. Right before this event started, one DNS enactor experienced unusually high delays, needing to retry its update on several of the DNS endpoints. As it was slowly working through the endpoints, several other things were also happening. First, the DNS planner continued to run and produced many newer generations of plans. Second, one of the other DNS enactors began applying one of the newer plans and rapidly progressed through all the endpoints. Oh, so basically one of them is going slow. The other one is doing its normal thing, applying something that didn't really have any information to apply. So it kind of put it blank from what I'm reading here. Oh my goodness. So when the second enactor applying the newest plan completed its endpoint updates, it invoked the plan cleanup process, which identifies plans that were significantly older than the one it just applied and deletes them. At the same time that this cleanup process was invoked, the first enactor, which had been unusually delayed, applied its much older plan to the regional DDB endpoint, overriding the newer plan. The check was made at the start of the plan application process, which ensures that the plan is newer than previously applied, was stale by the time due to unusually high delays in enactor processing. Therefore, this did not prevent the older plan from overriding the newer plan. The second enactor cleanup process then deleted this older plan because it was many generations older than the plan it had just applied. As this plan was deleted, all IP addresses for the regional endpoint were immediately removed. Oh, my goodness. So many things, so many different moving pieces happening, right? Additionally, because the active plan was deleted, the system was left in an inconsistent state that prevented subsequent plan updates from being applied by any DNS enactor. This situation ultimately required manual operator intervention to correct. Oof, that is serious. Anyways, let's leave it at that. That is a serious issue. Not something that'll happen on, like, it's so rare to happen, but when it does happen, things go crazy. Let me know your thoughts. Were you affected by the AWS outage primarily caused by the DynamoDB error, automation bug, latency, race conditions, so many different things, so many different moving pieces? I get it. It sucks. I get it. It makes Amazon look bad, but guess what? It could easily happen to any cloud provider. So it is what it is. Do I think Amazon's going to suffer a really, really big hit on this? I don't. I really don't. They are still going to be the number one go-to premier cloud provider. But they're going to share the world. And the reason that I like this as well, right, is because that it's not a monopoly. It is not a monopoly. There are other players in the mix. So I'm with it. Sounds good to me. All right. Anyways, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up for the week. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. It's Friday. It is Friday. I hope you had a productive and effective week. Let's get to work. Let's have a productive weekend. All right. Be on your purpose. Be on your purpose. All right. Take a trough. We are out.
You said it was Mandy, but it's still the same. Words like bandages that don't stop the pain. I held your words like glass in my hands, sharp truths and smooth demands. You said you meant the cracks I see, but promises break so easily. I trusted the stars, but they all fell down. Every promise made just spins around. The truth feels fake, the lies too real. I'm caught in the loop, I can't unfeel. I reach, but it slips away. Truths turn shadows in the light of day. I don't know what to believe anymore. Every fix just opens another door. Confidence feels like shade of trust that fades to blue. I step forward, fall right through. Your mirror's cracked and so are you.
Tell me what's the game? Truth and lies, they sound the same. Every time I think I've won, I'm back where I begun.
I built my faith like a house of sand, each grain slipping through my open hand. Your confidence is a polished mask, hiding the answers I forgot to ask. I don't know what to believe anymore. Every fix just opens another door. Confidence feels like a hollow sound. I look for answers, but they can't be found. Is it me who's blind or you who lies? Is it hope or hurt that keeps me tied?